Hello, 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 hello. My name is Bruce Lombardo, and this is my OnlyHands account. So, tonight we're discussing something that we haven't discussed as of yet, the five of us together, and our fifth member will be along shortly. Our friend Jaide is on a family leave, family leave of absence, and we hope things get better for you, Jaide. We understand.
Great.
For the crafting gamer, hello, sir, and Flady, evening.
What's up, TCG? Flady.
So you'll see that I have my friends with me, Shadow, Khymerion, and Baron G-Rock. And later, we'll have Connell stumbling in here, because that's what Connell does. Gentlemen, how are you tonight?
Not too shabby.
Pretty good.
Excellent.
Painting.
Excellent. I'll be doing that in just a few minutes, once I get my hands to where they can wiggle.
What happened to your hands?
I sweat out my body weight today, and I'm trying to get potassium and magnesium back in me and flow. I almost went and grabbed a Vlasic pickle, but I'm like, let me see what I can do here for the moment. I ate before the stream, so I didn't obviously drink enough. Okay. Baron?
Yeah.
You nominated our topic tonight. We're going to be discussing necromancy used in a good campaign. I'm just going to ask you if you ever got into the Scarred Lands campaign.
I did not.
Did you ever read Fire Sea by Weiss and Hickman?
No.
Okay. Then I will be pulling from those sources of inspiration tonight. As well as we should. Okay. Shadow, how are you?
Doing great.
Fantastic. Kai, you're not typing out 200 characters or less in a furious anger and righteous indignation like you were last night.
They need to up the amount of room you have in YouTube chat. But I knew if I didn't want to log on because I didn't want no. But yes, so much typing.
Yeah, I saw that. And I was kind
Where
of
was
unprepared
this?
last night. I wasn't mentally prepared for last night. I went in and I could not get myself psyched. I was sucking on coffee beans. I could not get myself ready to tear into that topic, which I love. But
Where was this, guys?
on Gatekeepers last night. Link was in the TableBreakers chat and in numerous spots in the Gatekeepers Discord.
How did I miss that?
Yeah, it was Rogues. That's how it was Rogues. That was yesterday. Today's new. Today's different. Today's not that.
Today we're not going to discuss that. We'll save our fury for Saturday night when we can melt steel beams.
Yes.
Jet fuel can't melt steel beams. Let me introduce you to Kai. Flady, it's okay, man. I was fatigued yesterday as hell, and I was pushing because I wanted Jaide to know that we'd try to be doing that, the rogues in the campaign, because I've been getting answers and questions, more questions than anything else, and thought I'd do that topic. Next time I do that, next time I hijack a Gatekeepers, we'll be talking about domain play rogues.
Oh, there was an actual show last night?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was canceled.
Nope.
If you go into the Gatekeepers chat, I mean, we talked about it, and I kind of outlined what I wanted to do. I wanted to do like mostly before name level rogues, and it didn't have to be centric to Dungeons and Dragons, but I ran as best as I could. I was feeling it yesterday. I was just and then today, like, I'm still putting my fluids back in. So
No, sorry, I couldn't join in. I had to, as I do a radio show a couple of times a week, sometimes I thought we weren't doing a show, so I instead of doing a pre-record, we did a live.
We're doing it live.
I think there's a clip out there about that. Hold
Maybe.
on.
No.
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 What? It's only Bill O'Reilly.
No.
We've all seen it. We know it. It's as my regular jokes.
I love. That's the only time I've ever said I love Bill O'Reilly, because I thought he was seriously gonna like come after his fucking backstage crew. I really did. Everything sucks. Okay, go ahead, Baron. Take it over.
All right. So tonight we're going to be talking about necromancy and the use of it in a good campaign. So with all of this here, I've got a few questions I did come up with, and I'm going to go ahead and start with the originator and creator of his own Only Hands account, Bruce. So when you have a necromancer in your good campaign, what is the source of his magic? Where does it come from? Where does it come from? Where does it go?
We've got multiple paths on here.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a multiple answer question. This is like a geometry question. We could go the simple route of I am a cleric in a service of a god that favors work, and sometimes the body will cease and I will bring that body back so it can work further, and therefore you have a neutral or maybe a misguided good god that wants to see people fulfill their tasks, and you as a cleric are given a modicum of that power to keep things rolling, to keep things pushing. And I like that. I like that idea quite a bit. What I like better than that, though, is I like a caster that loves the necromantic schools. And he looks at every one of you as your parts. Your parts for later. Right now, you work just fine. Later on, I might need you because you might be the cure for cancer. I don't know yet. And that might not be exactly a good campaign. Flatey, wow, that's hilarious. But 3 of those are puppeteered by the other one. Oh, my bad. Anyway, I think a necromancer that's in service of good is basically just like any other white mage or any other arcane caster, to where they put their foci into assembling parts that were previously used in another creature, and they will sometimes assemble bones and tendons and tissue into something new, like a undead homunculus, or they will instead grab a corpse and be like, I need you to work, and they animate that, or they have that put to use and march it down to the lab at the college, and then they pull the energy out, and then they can take all the things they need. Like, oh, well, here's 17 feet of good small intestine. Here's 8 feet of good large intestine. Here's some burned tissue. Can you do anything with that there, cleric? All right, fine. Throw it in the bin. I'll do something with that later, as long as it doesn't all deteriorate. Somebody get the fly spray out again. They're coming back. Sorry, Blaine.
I'm laughing at it. Don't worry.
I just, that's how I see it. And the necromancer is never really like a lawful good. He thinks he's, using the laws to do the most good, beneficial work. But man, he's got some real issues going on. And he doesn't even look at like women as objectively, I can use these to breed more parts. He just like, I'll use you right now. He does things like that. So I like how we can use either divine magic or arcane magic, depending on how your campaign is focused for a necromancer. I would prefer to use arcane users, but in a divine campaign, I'll go with Midgard, and majority of Nordic systems or Nordic settings, they use Hell. Hell is a mistress that she has all the bodies, all the souls, and she will return one back to you whenever you've been a good boy or good girl and you pray for it with one of your casted spells, and you get a item. Maybe you get a zombie or a skeleton, or maybe you get like a specter or a wraith to help do your job. And then they're returned whenever those are reduced to 0 hit points.
Okay. Hi. What about you? What type of what kind of magical background or reference do you like to have your necromancers in a good campaign?
At this point, looking at it, I tend to go with this one being more of a look at trying to instead of the pure evilly necromancy thing, trying to go more with the route of treating it on a more academic schedule point of view, where you're looking at it as it's a cult. Yeah, we're kind of looking at it as a cultural thing. We're just really it's really ultimately animating an object. Like, see, they're dead. They're no longer a person. They're an object, and we're recycling and using the object. But it's a body. No, the body. It's a person. No, the person is dead. I am using the. But what about intelligent undead? That is a whole other point of philosophy and ethics. We have a board of ethics involved here. We consult them. But necromancy
You're
is
bankrupt.
You're morally bankrupt? Yes, but we're not. So you have, but it also comes down to the what forces are being used for the purposes of that. So if you're using it's one of those things where if I'm running, there's a whole it really comes down to, are you asking a dark god for the Dark Lord of the Pit for the ability to reanimate, to forcefully reanimate this corpse? That's more than what people go, that's kind of evil. He's glowing green with necrotic energy. Yeah, that's probably evil. But hey, I use the power of pure mana without having to ask for a dark god to animate this corpse, and, well, don't worry about it. It's Grandpa. Grandpa wants to help me. That's right, Grandpa. Go move that cart. That's right. You didn't leave me an inheritance. You were kind of worthless in life, but you'll pull my cart in death and hoe the field. I don't care at this point. Oh man, that guy, like, you were of no value in life, but should be of value in death. And that's how it's like. It would be more just the application of what spheres and what power sources your paradigm operates with, as though you're animating that corpse to make it do whatever you want. And hopefully you're smart and you animate it as a skeleton and not a zombie, so we don't deal with the stench. So that way it ejects that disgusting flesh body mech that it was driving, and it embraces pure skeleton powers, and which is far superior to zombie flesh. Unless you're looking to create more zombies, but we don't want more zombies. We want controlled numbers, and we would prefer you to animate non-intelligent undead. Because yanking somebody from the afterlife and putting them back into their body and forcing them to be corrupted to your will, that's kind of ethically bad, and we might have to go in front of the ethics community. I'm bored. Who's the ethics board? Paladins. Oh no.
Inquisitors.
Yeah. Paladins. It's like please go for the captain's mast. At which point there's just simply a paladin, an inquisitor, and a cleric who's just saying, like, we're going to fucking rape you. We've already made our decision. You get no argument, but you can present evidence if you want. Oh, punishment is already determined beforehand. So the Board of Ethics is definitely a whole lot meaner than the real world, where he's like, oh, you've been disbarred. You're no longer no. This is a lot more death. We have a dish ballin over there who will happily evaporate your body now, and yeah. I know it's kind of rambling, but that's cool.
Okay. Shadow.
Before we go to Shadow real quick, when you say the green energy, I am reminded of a movie from 2009. I believe it was called Nine. It was like a claymation CGI movie. I don't know. I'll have to look for it and throw it to you, Baron, so you can see it.
I was thinking of the Lochnar myself.
Yeah. Lochnar, that works.
My Lochnar, you stupid bitch.
Lochnar is pretty badass.
Yes. The B-17 sequence is my favorite part of the entire movie.
Using alien goo, which is very reminiscent
of that color, yeah.
Necrons. Green.
The Shadow Clan love Necrons. As a matter of fact, I just finished painting the Necron tomb ship from Battlefleet Gothic.
Awesome. Very, very awesome. Right now, I'm building a Necron army right now for the abuse poor people with. So, yeah.
Not cheap stuff, man.
No,
we'll talk later.
Yeah, I know. But it's undead, and Necrons are undead.
And they get up.
That they are.
And they're good, according to their beliefs.
Hey, Trazyn the Infinite is a great character. You should love him.
Didn't say I didn't.
I know. But if anyone who doesn't know, just know Trazyn is the best character in all of 40K. There's no arguing there.
Oh, man. Eisenhorn, really, dude.
Kane. Commissar Kane.
Commissar Kane.
Yes, Commissar Kane.
Yeah. All right. Shadow.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Can you repeat the question?
When you're running a good campaign and you have someone who wants to be a necromancer, where do you allow them, or how do you explain where the magic comes from? That they're using?
Because it's evil. Now, before I get into it, there are some necromancy spells that aren't inherently evil, but a good portion of them are. So there's a potentiality for someone to not necessarily specialize in necromancy, but still use it. If they want to go full on necromancer, they're going to slide into neutral and then eventually evil. And I'm going to probably let them know that that's going to be a thing. Raising the dead and things like that, I don't allow resurrect to begin with, so they're already going against all of the social and religious norms that I would have in my game. So there's really not going to be a lot of it, but I've seen people try to skirt that, walk that fine line, using mostly things like Speak with Dead and a couple of the almost healing spells of the old, AD&D. Mind you, I don't play a lot of, Pathfinder or 3.5, so it's pretty cut and dried, for the old school games. And for the most part, if my players want to be a necromancer, they're in my evil campaign and they just run with it. It's like, yeah, I'm going to be an evil necromancer. I know everybody's going to be against me, but I'm still going to try my best to be the evilest necromancer around, or the most powerful, or the only.
All right, to kind of expand on that. So in your campaigns, you don't allow any type of resurrection, reincarnation, none of that?
Oh, okay. Player characters will never get the resurrect spell, and the only way to get a resurrect is through usually like the potion of life, and on a rare occasion I gave out a wand of resurrection, or rod, which has X number of charges. But the gods aren't going to come in and bring you back to life, because they want you upstairs with them to fight the big battle at the end of time, kind of thing. There's there's no reason for them to bring you back to life. A lot of times I've seen the trope where the players are, working for the gods, but for the most part, the gods don't need the players. I have a different view on the gods. They're they're badass enough. They don't need the players. They're just toying with them. And I also don't have the trope where the gods don't want to start a war, because they kind of do in my games. They want to start a war, and I've ran several god wars that have been a lot of fun for the players because I get them involved. Sometimes at least twice I've let them actually play the parts of the gods and go at each other PvP style, so that they can actually have kind of a stake in it, as opposed to the idea that the gods are trying to keep the peace. None of that. They want the evil gods want to stir stuff up, and maybe the good gods would rather not. But if you haven't actually run a really good god war, I highly suggest you at least try it once, get it out of your system, or run with it for a good long time if you can.
So, but you kind of just did a double switch on that. So you said that the gods want them up there to fight the war at the end, at the very end.
Right.
But they should know when the very end's coming. So what's the difference if they come today or if they come in 10 years? That kind of.
Okay. Well, you mean like in their mortal body or in their spiritual form in the afterlife?
Well, you were saying that the gods don't really give out the resurrection or anything like that because they want them up there to fight the war at the end.
Right.
Well, but they're kind of on that heartbeat of when that's going to be. So if that's not going to be for 1,000 years, what's the difference between taking them that day as opposed to in like 20, 30 years?
Well, because I'm trying to, if I'm going that route, I'm trying to accelerate it like within the year, not decades later on down the road. If I'm going that route, if the characters actually make it to anything like, above 10, 15th sort of level, then the campaign's running toward some sort of big dukaroo at the end. So the end is nigh one way or the other.
Okay. I was just trying to wrap my head around that. Because you kind of went this way and then you jerked over here. I was like,
I should have been a little bit more specific, but trying to be brief so that we could get on to the next one.
Yeah. So okay. So and you actually kind of brought up a good segue into the next question. What type? What? No, actually, because this is I went off of the. I'm scrapping the questions I had because half of them didn't make sense after I was reading through them again.
That's okay.
So, what is the moral framework that needs to be there for good necromancy?
Well, I assume you mean, how could you get away with it kind of thing?
Yeah, like the ethical guidelines, things along those lines.
I guess it's going to have to go by, because I use alignments. So depending on the campaign, because sometimes it's the lawful good gods that are, at the head of the food chain, so to speak. But I've run other games where it's the neutral good, because I actually think that's actually more good than lawful good, but I'm not going to get into that. But depending on the tenets of one of the three good alignments, that would probably come into play for what would keep you from going into the neutral alignments by your actions. If you start doing certain things that go against your, let's say, lawful good 10 commandments or whatever you have, then you could be straying versus neutral good, which is just, in my opinion, just more of a pure good, law and chaos, be damned, do what is overall the best good. And if you're just speaking with the dead or using some of the gathering spells or or things like that to bring people back, and heal them, kind of thing, then you're not straying. But as soon as you start raising an undead army, you're moving into the evil alignments.
Okay. So, give me a kind of a something that you've done before where you've had that kind of line where the players almost crossed it or something like that. Give me, I need something a little bit more out of you. So,
to be honest, like I said, my players are either if they're a wizard and they come across some of the necromancy spells, they're going to use the ones that don't push them over without, like I said, getting a warning. Hey, you start animating dead, that's, going toward neutral. If you keep using that as like one of your regular spells per day kind of thing, you're definitely going to be switching over, moving one of those alignments into the evil category. But if you're just, I think it was, what was that spell? There was a gathering spell that helped you bring the pieces back so that then you could do a healing spell. And I think Death's Door is another necromantic spell that doesn't quite go into the raising of dead, where it's like the mostly dead spell. Are you familiar with the old version of Death's Door, where if you're like negative whatever, you're not really dead, you just brought up to 1 hit point, that kind of thing? Or the Speaking with Dead is a real easy one to get away with, because you're not bringing anybody's body back to do your bidding, as opposed to laying them to rest properly. I think there's also I could be mistaken, a couple of spells that are geared around laying people to rest properly, or putting their soul at ease if they're like a ghost or a banshee or something like that. And yeah, there's really a pretty fine line for me what constitutes crossing over into the evil alignments versus the good.
Okay. Hi, for you, what are some of the moral framework for good necromancy that you have in your game?
Okay, I'm only going to focus now on just one of the kingdoms that I run for in the world in my game that I work with. By the way, it's the same kingdom that technically you guys are part of for my 1-shot, 2-shot. Who knows how long it's going to last? Every yearly shot. We have a very strict system of application for how we operate with them. I have my necromancers now, because of the fact that I do have multiple forms of how necromancy works through arcane, divine. Because divine, well, you gotta we can usually figure out which where you're drawing your power from by how you dress, how you act, what gods you're praying to. When the magistrati, when the magistrati, my GC, are sitting here watching you during your acts of proof that you're worthy of being certified as a spellcaster, and you're invoking the dark god Fulang, or calling upon the powers of the various high level demons of Malphaeus to come out there and serve you. We kind of understand that's evil, but if you're calling on live through your acts, through your proof, your research to go and say, because every spell does have it that verbal, the invocation part, that we can usually determine how if you're good or not. So the divine casters are easy to sort out, and the code of ethics is simply: did your god did the god you prayed to actually give you that power? And because of the fact that you are under a board, almost like the doctoral thesis board that's to prove that you're actually worthy of your PhD. And you have like 6 or 7 casters who are all watching you to make sure you're right, and one commissar with an anti-magic pistol ready to shoot you if you're not. And so therefore, after you you have to fool not just one caster but a board of 6 you're going to probably not succeed in tricking that. No, I'm actually a dark god, dark god worshiping under a good thing. So your ethics at that point, you're now divine now certified. Arcane is going to be a whole lot more application. How you're doing it, your application, explain to your board of arcane and arcane casters. The warlocks get a whole lot more watched over to make sure that they're doing things properly. Alchemy is just simply the alchemists are out there reanimating corpses, and at that point you're now under the rules of you're now certified. Here's your license, here's your passport. If you don't prove that you're actually following the rules of your license's certification rating, you're going to be arrested and probably stilled. So therefore, I cut off from all magic and pretty much locked with anti-magic bracelets that you'll never cast a day in your life again. And then you remove those bracelets, you die. So those are your options. We either shoot you now or take away your ability to spellcast forever. Do I get to retrain my class? No. You're still a level 8 wizard. You just have those bracelets that you can never take off. I'm going to flee the country. The moment you leave you leave the country, and the border guards look at you and see that you're a spellcaster trying to flee with your anti-magic bracelets. They're going to shoot you on sight. Good luck escaping this wonderful, wonderful totalitarian state that we hate all spellcasters with. And there is a board of ethics that does actually state what what it's used for, and you must maintain your yearly updates. And register. I register all undead that are operating. Plus we have regular contact with gods of with the various spirits of the afterlife who are kind of going, hey, we're missing approximately 100 souls who were supposed to be in processing for the afterlife, but some rogue necromancer is currently running around reanimating the intelligent undead and forcefully pulling them out of the afterlife. Could you help us hunt them down? And then adventuring occurs, which usually ends up with a necromancer who's doing his job evilly being shot. So we have a board of ethics, but it's very strictly enforced by a rather large celestial bureaucracy and a military who's very enthusiastic, because over across the sea, from one shore, you can actually see the black hole into a demon realm full of horrors that we can just go, yeah, we don't want any of that here. And then we all go to another place and find a pit full of glowing green stuff and horrible necromantic energies corrupting souls and forcing them back into their bodies. And we go, we really don't want that either. And then somewhere else we have an entire city of undead who are ruled by a powerful lich. And we go, we don't want that here either. And so you could look at across the world and find 3 or 4 major outbreaks of the undead and horrible influences going, we don't want any of that anywhere. So therefore the moment, I understand that we are under a population crunch and we don't have enough bodies to be able to do all the manual labor. We need a force multiplier for our workers to do mundane, easy tasks. Necromancers, yes. Do you want to have a job? Yes. Do you want to work for for a living? Yes. Do you want to cast? I love a cast. Good. I need you to raise up the undead in this area. But isn't that horrible? They already died. Their living usefulness is gone. We need you to do manual labor. Raise the undead to plow fields, clear wrecked cars off the road. That's all we need. And if you do anything wrong, we'll kill you. I understand. Good. Now go on with your day. Good day, citizen. I'll check with you. I'll check with you at the end of your shift. And that would be how most of that kingdom works. It's a weird, I don't want to say utilitarian, but pragmatic group of individuals who realize that they're down to less than a 1.5 million souls to run a vast ruined kingdom of people who don't have a lot of spare bodies to throw away. because there just aren't enough people who are actually civilized. And according to the Bison Surans, anybody who's not Bison Suran and who isn't part of an established country that pays taxes and is a barbarian, and we don't like barbarians here in our country. Thank you very much.
You heard them. No foreigners, no barbarians.
Hey, we have a bunch of whack jobs across the ocean who are religious, who are religious zealots who come sailing across the sea every 4 to 5 years to raid us because they want their holy city back. But that holy city is our holy city too, motherfucker. And no, you can't have it back. But no, because you're all magic using barbarians. We don't trust you because you don't have control over your magic. Blam 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 blam.
Wait. Isn't that an oxymoron? Barbarians with magic? Woo, no.
Oh no. Savages can use magic. Druids exist. All you gotta do is be an uneducated twit who prays to a god, and suddenly you got magic.
I'm Catholic.
So, yeah.
I don't have. Wait. Hold on. I'm Catholic, but I don't have magic.
Yeah, but we don't live in a world where all you gotta do is pray to your god, and I pray to your god at dawn, and suddenly you have magic spells.
Where's my magic? It doesn't work.
Yeah, but congratulations, you didn't take cleric or shaman or warlock because all
miracles are all around us.
Yeah,
I want to grow up to be a paladin.
You don't have that many orans.
Yeah, you got to grow up first.
Yeah, you need a magical staph infection so that way you can have your midichlorians. Did you?
I want to hear more about this portal of horrors.
Portal of horrors, not.
No, I heard horrors. Damn it!
I mean,
you need to get your ears checked then.
Yeah, I also need to speak clear. But yeah,
don't worry about it.
But no, I actually have like an entire rule document for the Magistrati Magisi for literally how to I manage and shoot all your spellcasters, and then religious zealots, and then mages who think themselves way too high on themselves, Magitech, unregistered Magitech users, and so many other people. This is a very close-minded society of individuals who are noticeably have a cultural PTSD case from rampant mage kings and psychopathic spellcasters. So yeah, they tend to shoot people. So yeah, I do have a very strict code of ethics for necromancers and everybody else.
All right, so welcome the Cigar DM to the show.
Sorry, I had to go be a parent.
That's okay. Parenting does trump other things.
As long as you're not being a parent at a coffee meetup, and she's
no, I wasn't dropping off a load of kids at the coffee meetup.
So since you hopped in here and everything else, like I said, we were talking about, of course, necromancy. What is some of the moral framework for good necromancy in your campaigns? Like ethical guidelines, things along those lines.
You say ethical guidelines, and I just think about the people I game with, and I don't think the two compute. I don't raise the dead. I don't like it. Don't make me do it. But I don't really do. No, if somebody approaches me with, "Hey, I want to play a true neutral necromancy," because I don't see them ever really being good, but that's because you're a bad guy doesn't make you a bad guy. So it'd be true. The alignment would have to be true neutral, for my opinion, very much in the gray zone. And it really depends on what they're wanting to bring back from the dead. Yes, if it is gobos, less sentient beings. Yes, I say gobos are less sentient. They pick their nose, they pick their friend's nose, and if you can't pick your friend's nose, then they're no friend of yours. Anyways, just go with it. So I would say yes, but the list of things they can bring back from the dead, I wish I could do Vincent Price's voice. I really do. This would be a great moment for it. Not so much Thriller, but maybe Fly, but that's besides the point. I've had coffee. Anyways, there would be a list of things would be on the okay list, and a lot of things are not on the okay list. No, you cannot bring back humans. You cannot bring up. I'm sorry that Sarah, lost her 3-year-old child because it got hit by a cart. No, you cannot take it to the pet cemetery. That will not be allowed. No, we're not going to do this. But you could bring back Fido.
That also ends badly.
What?
That also ends badly.
It's a cat. It
becomes Cujo.
I'm not necessarily. You could have a fine Frankenweenie like they did in a Disney movie. Yeah.
Disney's not real life.
Disney is. I've been to the Kingdom. It's down that way, full of crazy people. Anyways, I am really sorry. I'm highly bouncy today. But no, there will be.
That was sugar in your coffee?
No, it was cocaine, but that's besides the point. No sugar. It was sugar. Drugs are bad, kids.
There we go. That was so much better.
Wow. I can feel my blood pressure lowering.
Ethically and morally, I don't think really applies to the concept of necromancy. Morally, it can be shot down. Ethically, only if it's a third world country, you can bring them back as a workforce. That's fine. We're okay with that. But in game, no humans. If you want to bring back a monster, that's fine. You want to bring back Fido, as long as it's not Cujo, that's awesome. But there is a hard line. There is very much a hard line. I've yet to have anybody in my campaign say, hey, guess what? I want to play a Necromancer, because normally the answer would be no, but thank you for playing the game. Because in most scenarios, I imagine even Shadow will agree with this, Necromancy is evil. There's no workaround. It's just evil. And I don't like running evil campaigns.
Mark this in your record books, folk, on your calendar. Yes, we did agree on something.
But I would let somebody play as long as they go by the list of what they can be and understand that their character is true neutral. They're not the bad guy, but they're sure as hell not the good guy.
They're not the good guy. They're not the bad guy. They're just the guy.
The guy.
All right, Bruce. What type of moral framework do you have for good necromancy?
The ethical makeup of necromancers is kind of a challenged one. You walk a worse line as a good necromancer than you do as a young paladin. Young paladins don't make it to be old paladins most of the time either. In a proper campaign, most of the time they lose it between 4th and 7th level. Sorry. Lust gets to you. You're a young kid, maybe 26 years old at most, probably, but you'll do things, and there goes your paladin head. It's gone, and most players don't have the wherewithal to atone. So, the ethical dilemma within all of the characters for necromancy that are on the good side, it really there's a couple things that would have to be put in play. Like in Holocaust, somebody really liked what they read with the first few novels of Jim Butcher, and so you have the floating skulls that will go around and just dispense knowledge. And whenever they observe you in your laboratory and you're doing something probably not a good necromancer would do, they start telling you, like, I'm not going to report you, but I would like you to stop. I really heavily suggest that you don't cast that next spell on the recipe. I want you to actually tone it down a little bit and let's bury that corpse and let it rest. What you're doing is wrong. There's only one thing that you've got a recipe of spells that you're going to bring back this person that you loved, and your heart's really not in it for the greater good. You're being selfish right now. Stop it. And then they eventually start talking to each other by going to the window, making the window open, and then the skull flies outside and guards, guards.
That's why you need a 10-pound.
I have a bunch of bobs, and basically, it's elder spirits with a lot of necromancy magic knowledge, a lot of knowledge in it. I only played in that campaign like 3 or 4 times. I bought the book. The book was really good. Don't remember much of the description of the skulls, but there were elder spirits in the town that were helping focus the White College of Necromancers. And that was how the DM interpreted it. And it worked out really good for us because we actually were able to stay on task with things. We were able to do good things with that campaign.
Now, see, one point I think we kind of miss with this is when you're looking at a good campaign with necromancy in it is not necessarily raising the dead, but is granting a peaceful rest to the departed, and or being able to provide the guidance and wisdom that they had at one time in order to preserving, the history. So, for instance, that great wizard that lived, 50 to 1,000 years ago, he had some amazing things that he did that actually helped with defenses of the great cities or something like that, and how they were put into the being. Looking at some of the moral framework of that could be another way that is actually put into it. Kai, you had your finger up.
Yes. The closest to that I could actually say is that you need to look at, say, now the problem here is that you're looking at that point at like spirit speakers, those who are summoning like ancestors. In other games, those are not really under the necromancer category, because usually at that point you're just drawing the ancestor back for a short amount of time to provide wisdom, and at that point it's not truly but in that, a thing that did that really well is Legend of the Five Rings, where you actually have an entire branch of Shugenja whose entire thing is summoning ancestors to do work for you again, to be the guides, but the thing is, because of the fact that they are not reanimating a corpse, they're not really considered necromancers. Yes, there are necromancy spells because D&D has some of the most ignorantly retarded naming and categorization for magical spells, because I don't know who the fuck I was a brain dead genius who came up with the schools of the schools of magic, and then allocated every spell like almost like a dartboard into what spell is what. And because some guy in Wisconsin arbitrarily threw darts at a board and said this is what things are, we are now trapped 40 years later with having to say raise dead as I bring back, my friend recently died and might still be alive. And with a little bit of help, I can repair the body and bring back to life. It's somehow still a necromancy spell. And why they're not necromancers? Why your friendly neighborhood cleric is now a necromancer, but they are. But L5R did that really, really well. Exalt did it really well. There's ways of that you can summon dead souls back in other games to speak with them, and all of them are necromantic, but are you really a necromancer? And because necromancers will tend to be, I'm binding a soul back to the, unwillingly back into its body and bringing it back to life, intelligent undead, or I'm just reanimating a corpse and having a bare echo of its original soul, now a twisted creature in damnation. doing my will and bidding forever as a low paid wage wage slave to beat the crap out of people who I don't like because I can't afford golems, and this is how I'm doing my job. But the thing is that when you look at L5R with ancestor spirit work, there's a lot of rituals on how to do it properly, because if you do it wrong, you're offending your spirits, you're offending the ancestors. So in that game's already a rigid framework in place on how you got to do it right, so you don't have an angry, vengeful ancestor showing up there and going, and because when you're going to the ancient temple to go pray to the ancestors, it's pretty much that scene from Mulan where all your ancestors will pop up and go, I don't even like this guy. Someone's got to answer him. Oh, fine, I'll go down there and take care of it. Hi there, whoever you are. I see that you're my great grandchild on my third brother's side. I'm here to help you. And there's ways to make it work and how to make it interesting. But like I said, most people would look at that and go, no, that's totally okay. Meanwhile, Bob and the black robes over there sitting here going, dark powers grant me the ability to and then so somewhere in the somewhere in the shadow realm, Hell's looking up going, wait a moment, what are you doing? I'm bringing, no, that's my soul. Mine now. Oh, I'm angry now. That's one of mine. And now you got problems, or you made you paid her a toll, aka the obsidian gem you needed to let the dark god of gods of the underworld give you the ability to borrow a body for a few centuries. And you know what? Y'all end up in my dumpster of death anyway. So what's a few extra centuries? And it's like in a long enough marathon, you all lose. And yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm just kind of sitting back and going, I'm sorry if I just jumped in like that. So that's
okay. That's okay. Shadow, you also had a point you wanted to make on that.
Oh, just that I did actually mention the putting of souls to rest, and getting them to get rid of the banshees and ghosts and things like that by laying their soul to rest, being in the purview of potentially necromancers, and being a good way to use some of the necromancy spells. No big deal.
Okay.
I think banshees. You bring up banshees, and I'm thinking of the original concept of a banshee from Celtic mythology, and boy, did they get bad rap. They were supposed to warn the family that someone dear to them is about ready to die. Now you want to kill the messenger, or basically not unkill. Well, take the messenger out of the situation.
But we got whippoorwills. They did the same thing, Connell.
Yeah.
All right. So
that's an argument for a different day.
Yeah. Yes. We'll get to that probably. Maybe around Halloween. We'll dig into ghosting and things like that. Who knows?
Right.
Let's see here. Bruce, start off with you. So, who would actually? What type of either organizations or people would, in your campaigns and things like that, practice good necromancy?
What organizations would practice good necromancy?
Or persons or organizations?
The majority of individuals that would do such a thing would probably be allied with either a church or a college, one or the other, depending on how their magic is derived. That would kind of be the helping deciding factor. Are they arcane or are they divine? But even a church would probably hire on a white necromancer in a society where arcane might help, the spirit and help the body. And you would have a group of wizards together, like a guild, that would actually partake in the information sharing, and they would make sure that they would transact with other individuals that were of the same mindset, or at least on the same problems, the quantitative problems that they're all trying to solve. And I would see that to where you would have to have like an organization that would have the money to be doing such work. So it's not going to be like there's 7 of us and we hang out at a bar and we never actually do work together. No. There's probably like 10 or 12 bards or wizards, or more than likely clerics or priests, that they would be part of a church, that they would take place and involved with these things. I would see that type of individual grouping for them.
Like the exorcists, or potentially Inquisition of that particular church, maybe?
Possibly.
Okay.
That would be my answer.
Okay. Oh, so okay. So we got that. Connell, what about you? In your campaigns that you would run, or in a world that you have, what specific orders, religious sects, or individuals would practice this good necromancy?
There'd probably be a church. There are several. I mean, we've already did a video on how to make divinity in your campaigns, I think, on Gatekeepers, not TableBreakers. I know we did in Gatekeepers. But if I was going to allow the class in my campaign, as, by the way, this is also a free one, it would belong to a certain church of some sort. I don't think, I know it would be a church, so it'd be half divine, half arcane is the way I would do it. And it would just follow some god or goddess. I haven't quite decided on that situation. That, they're in their domain. They have the ability to bring back the dead for maybe a day or a couple days, like Reverend, the Crow.
Revenant?
What?
A Revenant.
Yes. I'd probably allow that, where the guy is just on a short time limit then said, I know that's not exactly the answer you're looking for, but it's a weird question. It's not a weird question. It's just not a question I normally think about because I don't run into this. But yeah, I would attach it to a church. I would definitely a church that can bring back somebody for X amount of days, or until the mission's over. Then the undead goes back to very much being just dead.
Okay. I know Kai has got a good one for this one. Kai, what about you?
I know I suck.
In your world campaigns, whatever you want to call it, are there specific orders, religious sects, or individuals that practice this good necromancy?
In a way, multiple, because multiple people have gone pragmatic. I've already gone over the Bison Surge with the Magistrati Magici, overseeing the various colleges and spellcasting corps that engage in necromancy. I've already hinted at the Twilight Empire with the Rokgani and the Inquisitors, whose job is to deal with ancestor spirits and laying and purification of spirits to redeem of corrupted undead spirits to redeem them, to bring them back to being back to the light, back to be able to go to their proper afterlife, their proper realms of the afterlife. I have various necromancers who work with, they're not really necromancers, but they're undead hunting specialists who technically are necromancers who are willing to use the unintelligent undead to bring down the intelligent undead who are rogues. I have necromancers who are agents of the afterlife, whose entire job is to collect the intelligent rogue intelligent undead who are wandering around. there's a group of necromancers who are not really necromancers, but they're kind of liches who realize that they operate under the mentality of the ninja principle of too many ninjas dilutes the pot. So they go out there and hunt down other liches to remove them and their necromantic agents hunt down other rogue liches who don't subscribe to the power of the Archlich Council that keeps them in line. I have another group of so you have the necromancers who are project union bosses who keep the intelligent undead in line. So yeah, there's actually a whole lot of organizations that look at that. It all comes down to use of how they're being employed, and or duration upon what they're used for. So it's like, yeah, there are a lot of organizations that in my worlds that do actually make use of that, because of the idea that it doesn't take much for one person to go crazy with power and let an evil person suddenly tear open a hole into Jigoku and let mass undead corruption come flowing out of it. So, or we don't want another Phoenix King who opens a hole into the warp. We don't want any of that. We don't want Papa Nurgle's blessings. We stop that stuff before it happens. No Tomb Lords, no Nurgles, no. So they go out there and yeah, we like our dark powers, but we like to be able to use them for constructive purposes. Even though there's several countries who would like to crush them all, but after 4 apocalypses, we really don't care anymore.
Okay, and Shadow kind of already went through his, so we'll actually start with Kai this time. Kai, how is good necromancy perceived by society in your group? Is it something that's accepted, something that is misunderstood? Is it something that, they see something like this and go, evil, 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 evil?
Different. It all comes down to, I hate to call it what color of energy they're glowing with. And if you have the green glowing, the green glow of evil, the red glow of the green glow of necromancy, the red glow of demonic powers, or that blue glow of arcane power, or that white glow of divine energy, we kind of go, hey Bob, what's powering that? And someone goes, looks to be this source of magic. Then we all kind of know, all right. So it's one of those things where there is the visual cue that usually of, we can usually tell when we get within like a 10-foot, 15-foot radius of, hey, that's put off but it's blue. It can't be evil. I'm within 10 feet of it. I can pretty much tell you that it just reeks of necrotic energy, and they just put an illusion over it. Okay, Inquisitor, I figured it out. He puts on his little see-through illusion thing. Yeah, it's totally rigged to be a dark fill power. You should probably destroy that now. And then he's kind of waved to the arbalest carrying Doom machine. They played a god who's not actually God, but is a sniper who's sitting at 300 feet and is been spending the last 5-6 rounds, zooming in the shot, and then just starts opening up with the anti-everything gun, also known as an arbalest, and suddenly the undead but no, we've already enchanted this thing. This thing's designed for murdering the undead. And then watching the necromancer, oh god, did my server just explode? Oh shit. And yeah, it's pretty much one of those things where culture kind of looks at the idea that if you have it and you're using it for doing constructive tasks like moving concrete bags, plowing fields, moving wrecked vehicles off of ancient roads, filling in the roads because they can work 24/7. Wow. In rain or shine or heat, the road might actually get finished on time and under budget. The budgetary office loves these guys because they actually get the job done. So yeah, a lot of necromancers tend to have, who are good, end up being, actually have degrees in engineering and construction, and are actually, or agriculture, or deep sea salvage, because, man, that ship sank. Man, it's so horrible. We don't have a diver or a sea elf involved. A necromancer shows up on his little barge. I got this, and like 25 skeletons jump off, and suddenly you got all your salvage back. How do you do that? My skeletons don't care about pressure, and they don't care about air. They just work until it's fixed. Man, it's so good you're here. I know. Now pay me. Well, pay me. But what if I don't? You join the work crew. Oh, here's my money. Don't kill me. Good. Thank you. And then they go cruising off there. So it really comes down to necromancers actually have a really good civil engineering profession in their futures. They're great agriculturalists and civil engineers and naval engineers and workforces. Most other classes can't keep up. And I love them for it. And mind you, they're always being watched immensely by everybody else who's kind of looking at you angrily going, I can't do all the work. My undead can't do skilled crafting, but they can do the manual labor. All right. So it's one of those things where it's like people look at it in this pragmatic sense of the world's a magical world of screwed up stuff. You're going to get used to the idea that, yeah, you're going to be working alongside these people. Just get used to it. But I don't like it. It's horrible, and you don't need to eat. Or let me adjust the pay you're going to pay because now I got to hire real workers. Thank you for crashing the economy. Where am I going to find workers? Well, you can just hire peasants. Where? We're already at approximately 98% workforce utilization, and I'm not going to be able to pay enough to be able to lure workers from a high-paying job to go do this low-paying manual labor bullshit. Where am I going to get to correct this? You're just going to, where? Where am I finding this, paladin? Where am I finding this overzealous cleric? How am I going to rebalance all of this? You'll just pay out of your, I'm already lowering the price to the point where it's already bare bones because we are in a post-apocalyptic economy, and we don't have a lot of excess capital floating around. The undead are an easy to replace source of labor, and I don't care they fall down and break because I can bring more up from the dead. Well, no paladin, take your self-righteous bullshit, your lawful goodness, and go fuck yourself with it, because I need to feed approximately 40,000 people in that town over there. And do you want to work the field, Mr. Paladin? No, I gotta go do paladin work. Good. Now go do paladin work and don't look my way again, or I will add you to the workforce.
Now, are these undead union? Coming
Dude,
from
you stole my
Illinois,
freaking line, dude.
coming from the state of Illinois, where we understand the power of the union.
That's why I held my hand up.
Yeah.
At some point, they're going to get involved.
Who says the necromancers aren't already part of the union? They already have their own union.
It would be UDWF, the Undead Workforce.
First off, the undead don't get a vote. It's the necromancers who do. We don't raise intelligent undead. Intelligent undead will have what pay and representation. We don't give that.
You must know somebody that works at Caterpillar. All
right.
Again, until we start bringing intelligent undead, and that starts getting into the ethical grounds, and we don't want to do that. We want to stay completely compliant. And don't worry, our union rates are all set by us necromancers who work. And we don't like bad necromancers because they ruin our reputation and the union. And that would degrade our power. You don't want to do that, do you?
So many bad jokes. So many bad jokes.
All right. Moving on. Shadow. How is good necromancy perceived in society and games you have run?
With immense suspicion and doubt. It's just a matter of time before you slip up start delving into that stuff. Most games, other than like D&D or what have you, Call of Cthulhu, etc., would you know lend itself to the argument that it's just a matter of time. Conan, etc. You start doing that stuff, eventually it's going to taint your soul, make you harder and callous and maybe scabby. And eventually you're going to slip up and cross that line.
Have you ever had? Do you have any examples of that from any games you've had?
God, I really can't think of anything that comes to mind. To be honest, it's a pretty rare thing. I mean, I'll put some of the necromancy spells out there, for the players to find like as treasure, that sort of thing, and tempt them. But they're usually too busy doing other things. Uh, as like I said, speak with dead, great utilitarian spell for just about anybody. But the other stuff, it just doesn't really come up, man. I mean, other than my upcoming Venture Brothers slash Supernatural Palladium Beyond the Supernatural hybrid game I'm working on, I'll let you know how that goes because I'm kind of itching to see if anybody takes the bait and wants to run the Professor Morpheus or Dr. Morpheus from the Venture Brothers kind of character, but we'll see.
Well, I just have one question. Bruce, is that a pickle on your table, or are you just happy to see us?
Yeah,
I'm very happy to see all of you. But I sweated too much today at work, and so I have to chew on this thing because I've got cramps in my thigh, I've got cramps in my hand, I'm having a hard time painting. So I'm going through hell over here. So yeah, the pickle's on the table.
Great for replacing your soda.
He just pulls it out and slaps it on the table. Jeez, Bruce.
Yeah, but why is it green?
Hey.
Well, we are talking about good necromancy.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Bruce, how is good necromancy perceived in the games that you have played or run?
Good necromancy that I've played, it typically is looked at as like this is a necessary thing in the cities where they have that. There's also a friend of mine from one of my other panels throughout the week has popped in here, and he decided to pop in. Hey, how you doing, Keto Simple? And if you guys want to learn a little bit about dietary needs, I do have his link right here. Really good man, really smart. Him and Miss Keto Simple are awesome, by the way. All right, now that I've given the shout out, and I want him to make more. He's got thousands of viewers for a good reason. He's got very good knowledge. Okay.
Don't trust anybody.
In societies that have white necromancy or have the characters which are actually doing good things with the necromancy, it's often perceived that magic is just a tool like anything else, like a hammer, like a scaffolding. It just all depends on what you're using it on. And so happens necromancy is used to bring energy back to dead cells, to dead tissue. And many times that is exactly the utilitarian mindset that is held whenever you have these games. A lot of the characters that are in Holocaust will have that exact mindset. The book Fire Sea by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, great book. It's part of the Deathgate cycle. The city fell apart around them, and over the course of time, because the Necromancers Guild kept using more and more of the resources, and there was really no effort to take care of the living. And so you only had a few nobility families that were left after hundreds of years, and then they had thousands of undead and a few necromancers that were, trying to repair the city, but there was nobody there. And sometimes the undead would bump into each other, and old echoes of their former life would pop up, and they'd start talking, and then they'd realize that they were not where they were supposed to be. and then he'd fall silent again, trying to go up and down the underground avenues and such. It's a really good book. But Fire Sea is really interesting because it took it to a Chicago level. And I'm going to say that because I'm going to use politics in this description. When I say Chicago level for a game, I'm talking about they are throwing so much money at a infrastructure or a resource that everything else will get swept under the rug. And the best case for that would be like a Department of Education. Well, that's obviously where you have the most embezzlement and most corruption, and that's what was happening in this story. They've thrown all the money at the Necromancer Guild, and this is an amazing book because of the fact of how they look at this and how they look at how other places in the city were not built up. Other things were not focused on. They didn't even look at nurseries whenever things would collapse. They were too worried about, reinforcing areas where the necromancy was being practiced. And it was a very fun read for that aspect. It's probably the worst book in the Deathgate cycle. But and some of you old timers, you know what book I'm talking about. This thing has a giant black dragon with its neck arching up and out of this big underground magma lake. Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman wrote this back in 1993 or 4. And if you get a chance to read it, go ahead and read it. If you have a chance to play in a game that's set in Holocaust, go ahead and do that.
Hey, send me a link for that book or write it down in private chat or just send me a message.
Sure.
It sounds interesting.
Fire Sea is amazing. Holocaust is really cool. Holocaust is part of a bigger story in the Scarred Lands campaign. And that in of itself, that's a whole lot of fun because they took traditional Greek mythology and Jap anime and combined the two back in 2000 for a campaign setting. But, Grandma, I'm sorry to hear that you're not feeling well. That's terrible.
Yeah, get well soon.
What I would say, now those are two fiction examples that I have, Baron, but the overall general consensus of games where you actually have me running a campaign that involves having a Necromancer's Guild that's not involved with tomb robbing and breaking open crypts and then taking good tissue and, from people that want to keep that tissue in the ground instead of harvesting it for their own needs. The majority of people that look at things like that are going to look at it of the mindset like we know the soul leaves the body after death. Typically, the body, when it expires, about 15 to 28 ounces on average will actually decrease, which is the weight of the soul itself.
What, 21 grams? Is that what you said?
Somewhere around there. I thought it was like 15 ounces to 28 ounces. Is it 21 grams?
Yeah.
I thought it was an average of 15 to 28. And I was thinking it was ounces, not grams.
Oh,
anyway.
No, it's grams.
Okay.
I know because I just actually read an article on it just last week.
Okay. But there's a weight loss that the body goes through when it expires. And the people in these campaigns typically will infer that the spirit's free. The spirit's gone to where it needs to go. The body is here. It's meant for us to use, or it will crumble to dust. And therefore, that's why they feel empowered to utilize this entire grouping of old tissue, which is no longer got a soul within it. It now has utility and purpose. And if the body is not well enough to where they can animate it and make it move along, they can at least take the good parts of it and meld it together in a homunculus to where they have a multi-part golem. So I feel that typically is the mindset of these, of the people that would be living in that world.
Okay. Colonel, how is good necromancy perceived in your games?
Well, like I said before, it'd probably be, if I did allow it, and I'm not saying I wouldn't, but if I did allow it, it would be through a church of some kind. For example, have you guys seen? It's an old Heath Ledger movie called The Sin Eater.
In a while.
The principle of the movie was this guy would go around and eat people's sins. He would do a ritual and eat the sins, and the person on their deathbed normally would die and get a free slate. They get to go, to heaven. At least that was the overall concept of the Sin Eater. It would be under that pretense. The church would send somebody out to do something if a village needs, I kind of like where Kai was going, using it as a workforce. If something needs to be rebuilt or something like that nature, and the village does not have the right number of people to make it work, they call said church or they send a messenger. Yes, Kai.
No. I raised my hand because I want to add after you're done.
Okay. The church would send a necromancer. The necromancer would go to a graveyard, preferably not human, maybe humanoid but not human, bring back the dead, bring back the bodies of the dead, and they would accomplish whatever needed to be done. I do like that, and I do agree with Bruce's concept that just because they're undead doesn't mean their spirit's there. The spirit could be off somewhere else, and you're just using the body as a construct. So that's probably how I'd handle it. And as for the society, they wouldn't be kicked out of the town, but they wouldn't be, the mayor or whoever would not be inviting them over to the local shindigs. There'd be no balls in their future, no high-end dinners. They'd be, shunted to some tavern outside of town, and that's how they're handled. They're not unwanted, but not unneeded, but definitely not wanted. Kai, you said you want to jump on something?
No. Are you actually done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Now, I know I went on a nice little tirade and tangent about there being a guild, guilds and everything. There's one thing I did kind of leave out from all of my conversations about all of this is that while I do tend to run around with a concept I have stolen from other games a concept of honor and reputation, honor/reputation, and your own standing. Necromancers tend to be having this because I really do I understand the caste system. And we do deal in a feudal society where we're not an egalitarian government that is based on everyone being equal. No. While there is a necromancer guild, I can guarantee you they're not going to be very high up on the we like you reputation scale. Like, you may be a fantastic, renowned necromancer, but because you're always constantly working with the dead, working with borderline dark powers, no one's going to really expect much from you. They're going to look at you, as though you are dirty, as though you are a lower caste. You may be a noble, but no one's going to treat you with any form of respect in higher circles, because you walk in there, you're wearing the clothes, you act the part, but everyone knows. Everyone's going to look at you funny. There's going to be this feeling that people are just going to treat you like you're kind of a disgusting individual, because you're a union boss leading a huge organization and you're able to build bridges that you have a few people who could tolerate being around you, long enough to do the high skill jobs that you need to be able to do your work. But they're going to be but everyone's going to look at them as though they're tainted by being around you. So there is this societal aspect that, you're a good necromancer, but no one's going to treat you with respect. And that kind of helps push in towards why there's not many good necromancers, because you got to have a really thick skin to be good and using dark arts to do good deeds. You have people who are doing it so you're not going to see a lot of lawful good or chaotic good people working as a necromancer, but you're going to see neutral goods, people who go, good, I am good at all costs. I don't care what you say about me. I don't care. Like, I'm doing it because this is the best thing that needs to be done, and I don't care what anyone thinks about me, aka neutral. And because chaotic will be like, I don't give a fuck, whatever, blah 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 blah, and lawful, I don't. Why do you disrespect me? And so you're going to see a lot of people who are more going, I chose this profession. I don't care. I'm a garbage man. I'm a sewer line worker. I'm doing the dirty deeds that society needs done. Yeah, no one's going. Yeah, if anyone ever asks, what job do you do? And I go, I'm a necromancer. And people go, oh, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And then they go on, and you just kind of go, fuck you. Fuck you. I fixed the highway. I don't give a shit. I've got a nice house. I've got a nice house and a good pickup truck, and I go on vacation every 3 months. What the fuck do you do? Yeah, go fuck yourself. I got a nice job. But so there is that cultural aspect that you're going to be constantly looked down upon, and no matter how hard you work, the more you keep functioning with necromancers, you're going to be living with that horrible stigma that's going to follow you everywhere. Because unfortunately, you may be the best goddamn worker in the world, but somewhere out there, some jackass is out there going, I don't want to go burn down a village with my necromantic army. And at which point you're just like, motherfucker, could you just not? Because, you know, some of us are trying to earn a legitimate living here. And yeah.
Necromancy does mean you never have to say goodbye to your pet.
That's right.
Go ahead, Shadow.
Would you guys consider, those of you who read Hellblazer, the comic book, not so much the movie Hellblazer with Keanu Reeves, to be a good necromancer?
John
Yes.
Constantine as a necromancer, he's made enough deals with the demons and outside influences to basically be able to rock that. I don't see him personally as one, but I see him having the possibility of becoming one if the chips were, as he would put it, the chips are down, it's time to crack on.
I would actually say that I would see him as more of he sees himself more as a gatekeeper than a good or bad thing. He is the gate that they have to come through. He is the wall that they must penetrate in order to come across. And I think he has more paladin qualities than he actually does necromancer qualities, just for the simple fact of he will hold that wall at all costs, and he will let himself be brought down to whatever level that needs to be brought down to in order to protect the innocent.
So I only read the first 10 or 20 comic books back in the day, and it's been literally decades, since they first came out. So I was just curious.
God, yeah. It's nice, though, to see Sting being Sting as a comic book hero.
I got into an argument.
That's who Constantine was modeled after.
I got into an argument with someone last week who said it was David Bowie, and I had just got through reading otherwise. But
David Bowie is David Bowie is Sandman and Lucifer. So no.
Yeah, no. Constantine, the guy who created Constantine said he was a police fan, and he made him look like Sting.
That's what I read, but I don't know where. I couldn't quote exactly where I read it, but that's what I thought. I was kind of a police fan more than a Bowie fan. Not going to, say anything bad about Bowie, but just kind of before my time.
So, and I'm not trying to cut here on your questions, but on the same question, but with a different person. Using Constantine, Jim Butcher's Dresden. He did it in one book. He brought back a T-Rex. I mean, how many spells does it take for a person to actually say, yes, I'm a necromancer? Is it one and done, or is it a career choice?
I think it would have to be a career choice, except for in the case of Dr. Orpheus from the Venture Brothers, because he just took the title because all the other ones had been taken.
Kai?
I would kind of look at Dresden doing that as more of a large anime object than actual necromancy, due to the fact that it was fossilized and therefore there's no bone for it to properly animate. So that really is just that's semantics now.
Yeah,
And,
that's curious.
and with Constantine, I think he's more of your lawful neutral warlock who's just sitting back and laughing at it. And I'm going to do this. Like, nah, man, the rules say this. What do you mean? Rules say this. He's not a paladin. He's just a really assholey rules lawyer who doesn't give a shit about what's going on.
I would love to play Constantine in a campaign. It's just, anyways, getting back to your topic. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm actually going to chime in on that. Is that I think what it has to do a lot with is intent of what is going behind it. So, for instance, if there was a necromancer that, because I really haven't chimed in on a lot of the stuff here, but for instance, if there's a necromancer and there's a sea of thousands of orcs coming, and he goes, "We only have a city guard of 30. We can't repel, firepower of that magnitude." And he goes, "All right." And then all of a sudden, bed knobs and broomsticks, all of a sudden all the, you see where I went.
Yeah.
You see where I went. All of a sudden, all of the bones and whatnot of former heroes and of pets and animals and horses all go out to the battlefield to stop them. Was what happened in bed knobs and broomsticks. Was that technically necromancy?
Well, considering it's a Lady for Murder She Wrote, one could wonder.
Yes, but with only one requirement: put Grandpa back when you're done.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Is that what I'm saying though, and I'm using that kind of as the reason behind it, as the intent. It was not the intent to take over. It was the intent to keep the living safe, to keep people from getting hurt, to keep people from dying.
Kind of like in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, I mean, those were spirits, but yeah, I'll give that.
Yeah. But I mean, but that's where I'm coming from on whether or not the true, if someone uses a necromancy spell, if that makes them a necromancer, I would say no, with the caveat of it does have to come down to the overall intent. It's the intent of everything that is being used for. Is it being used for power and to further your personal gain? No. Is it being used to protect the innocent? I would say that would be definitely a no on being called a straight up necromancer. You're doing what needs to be done in order to keep people safe. Bruce, we've all kind of lodged in on this. What about you?
Well, what was the original question that you started with this round, Garrett?
Well, it was actually one that Connell posed. Does one use of a quote unquote necromancy spell make you a necromancer?
No. Just like one prayer to your god of choice does not make you a cleric. I think that just because you cast Spectral Hand, that doesn't make you a necromancer. Just because you cast Ghoul Touch, that doesn't make you a necromancer. What makes you a necromancer is the devotion, is the dedication, is the single-mindedness to exploring what power still lays within the flesh and how you can manipulate the energies to get it going again. That's what makes you a necromancer. You just blowing a spell in combat could be magic missile, could be fireball. You chose cool touch. Okay, big deal, no biggie. Oh, you chose spectral hand because you could send that thing out there to tap somebody and make them do a saving throw. Awesome. But I honestly think that what makes you a person, a necromancer, is the focus to do more with the dead flesh. I'm not talking about sexually more. I'm talking about somebody wants to do more where they want to reanimate it, they want to control it, they want to puppeteer it, they don't want to get their hands dirty. Maybe the undead that they're going to create is going to do a couple dirty jobs for them. I don't want to be digging in the dirt, but I can supervise these 6 zombies as they go dig up a septic tank. That's pretty cool. I've got my my margarita, my umbrella, and I got these 6 guys working for me for the next 6 hours. That's awesome. I'm almost a real caster because I could almost keep them up all day on one cast. Awesome. Necromancer. I can't help it, man. That's fucking great.
This is a little bit of a side note, but it kind of goes along with this. I go camping every so often at the place where they filmed Ernest Goes Camping down in Tennessee. And I've been trying to find a person that kind of looks like Ernest so I can put the outfit on him. And so late, like 3 o'clock at night, I can just see him walking around the campsite talking to Vern. You shake your head, Baron, but there's a part of that that's fucking hilarious. I already got a friend who could rig up a golf cart with a controller so it just drives itself.
Moving on.
Oh, you're no fun. I think it's a great idea.
All right, so we'll start with Bruce on this one.
Okay.
So, what is the role of the undead in a good aligned campaign? Are the spirits willing to aid the living, or are they temporary manifestations created to protect the vulnerable? What role does the undead
It all depends on how the undead was raised. Is the undead raised as just dead tissue and flesh, and it ambles around like it was kind of puppeteered because the soul's gone? Or did you raise the skeleton from 200 years ago that was in the Confederate cemetery, and therefore now the soldier is wanting vengeance, and he's like, let's go get him. I can't stand them blues, and he wants to go and finish his job. He wants to go finish the job, literally. And what type of campaign is this? Is it how are you raising the undead? Are you tethering the soul within the spirit, or are you puppeteering it?
Okay,
that's the big question. I mean, a lot of campaigns I played in with good necromancers, the soul's gone. They make sure the soul's nowhere near the corpse. Oh, he's on another plane. Okay, well, shit.
I mean, other than Jacob there, Bruce, how many people have you had in your campaign say, hey, I want to go play with dead things?
Well, it's really not my
I
campaign.
catch the reference there, Baron.
It's really not my campaign.
Jesus.
No, I play a necromancer in another game, and I really enjoy the shit of it. I can't wait to get higher levels so I can actually do stuff like craft undead by the 10s. Like, all right, we've got our labor force. Cool. Guys, go build me a chair over there, and I'll watch you the rest of the day. Thanks. I want that. I know that sounds lame, but You have to have set your goals small at first. Don't have big goals.
Okay. How about Kyle? What is the role of the undead in your campaign? If I'm going to preface this out here, if you did allow it, because you've said it twice now, so I'll go ahead and preface that for you. Are the spirits willing? Are they just temporary manifestations to protect the vulnerable?
I think they're they're temporary. They'll only be here for a short period. I think the spirits, under the right situation, would agree to it. I would very much be. That would have to be a thing. And the hard line is, as I said, no humans. And okay, as I'm thinking about it, no heroes, no good people, no innocent people, per se. If you can't use the orphan kids to rebuild the orphan. I'm sorry, but that's wrong. Maybe a little. I don't know. I'll get back to that thought. But no, there's just no kids. I have a very simple rule in my life when dealing
No
with
women, no kids.
Yeah, a very simple rule in my life. When it comes to collecting payment, no women, no children. And
Another Venture Brothers reference.
I did not know that. But yeah, the hard line is no innocent. You can't just go, hey, I heard that your kid died last week. You mind if I put him to the workforce? There's not going to be any fucked up Oliver Twist scenario.
Well, wouldn't that also include, potentially 90% of all the people in the graveyards and the dead in general?
That's not my problem. That's the person who wants to play the Necromancer that has to find the right, supplies. As a DM, I get to say yes or no. If I say yes, the rest of the work's on you. If you want to play a Necromancer that's not good, like I said, a gray, true neutral Necromancer, the work on finding bodies or supplies to make your whatever work, it's on you. Now, if there was a massive battle in a kingdom, 2 kingdoms down the road from you, and it's humans and orcs, go for it. Collect all the orcs that you can get, all the orc bodies. Merry Christmas. But no women, no children, no innocent. And that would be my hard line.
So I will point out, you said no human. That means the elves, the halflings, the half orcs, the half elves.
Yeah, I see.
All those are fair game. No. You said human.
Yeah.
You said humans. So therefore, they are all fair game. Just where to.
The Catholic part of me is telling me that the only person that has a soul is humans, anyways. So the rest is free game.
All right. Boo. We'll get away from the Catholic here and move to. Hi.
Hold on. I gotta say something that will make Jack happy. So there we go.
Okay. So Kai, I know you've been chomping on this one for a minute because you've been sitting there trying to go for it. Unload.
Read the question one more time. Just make sure I get it right.
What is the role of the undead in your game? Are they temporary manifestations? Are they willing to aid the living? Were they created to or brought forth to protect the vulnerable? How do they kind of work into the campaign or into the world for you?
They are not. Most of them do not do it temporary because they are an expensive investment of capital into a resource. They are not. Until they work back, at least the amount of money you spend to raise them. They have to stay. They have to, or it's a losing proposition. This is a job after all. Then again, you do have some who just raise the most cheapest, bare bones, lowest grade skeletons or zombies and use them for things like, I don't know. I do know. I know one person who was a good necromancer who used his zombies as literally a communication device, a cheap 1-bit Morse code system of communication, because all the zombies had to do is look to the next tower and see the next zombie. And the zombie raises their the next skeleton. The zombie raises their hand and then puts it down. They transmit that and then put it. They're mirroring. They're mirroring. Who needs the torches of Gondor? The warning beacons are lit. No, you have zombie. You have skeletons with 2 flags doing semaphore, and communicating that way. Because like all you need to do is look at your first skeleton, and say, "Here's your if this, do that," which is what most commands are. It's like a computer program at this point. It's just simply, all right. If you see me, your necromancer, your communication specialist, who sits there with 2 flags, and if I go into a certain combination, you mirror it, and the next zombie and the next skeleton zombie down the road, in the next box, 4 miles down the road, sees the flags go up in a certain pattern, he mimics it, and suddenly you have a primitive telegraph communication system using entirely undead, and the undead are constantly awake. They don't sleep. They're not paying. There's not going to be a moment where they're going to go, you know what? I'm going to play cards or dream about women. I'm not going to do my job. And, the communication system falls apart because somebody was off, daydreaming about about something. You've got mindless undead whose only job is to be your communications network. And, most people are going to walk by and they're going to see, in this tower, a dead corpse sitting there in a tower not doing anything. And they go, some guy died in the apocalypse, not realizing that skeleton is actually an undead who's just waiting for the signals to arrive so he can send communications rapidly back and forth. Who needs pigeons? You have the undead internet happening, and so it's like when you got players who figured out that your half-hit dice skeletons are crap, but they're dirt cheap, and I can have lots of them. And I can have lots of them intact and running at all times. And once I give them orders, I can walk away and never come back to them. There's 0 maintenance. And if I lose one, it's a few bucks to replace it. It's the cheapest component. And watching players I'm sitting here, the player explains to me how to do this. Sure. Or I've had other players go, why do I hire horses to run my millstones? I have undead who walk on the big trebuchet hamster wheels and grind eternally. It's industrialization through the undead. It's perpetual motion through necromancy. It's so beautiful because your skeleton produces the same horsepower as a human. Okay, and they don't sleep. Okay, the horse gets tired. This does not. I can run a human-powered paddle wheeler with undead as my motor. I don't care. And I'm like, brilliant. Brilliant. You don't need to feed them. They don't need to sleep. They work eternally, and they have one job, which is simply, hey, necromancer, yell at them to bring power down to half speed, like bring it down to a walk. When your engines are dead stop, walk, times 2 move, times 3 move, times 4 move. And so you're sitting here with almost the bells on an engine going ding, 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 go to full power, at which point the necromancer looks at the skeletons and go, sprint. And the skeletons go into sprint mode, and suddenly your paddle wheeler starts churning up water as the boat goes. It goes much faster. Oh, wow, undead nuclear power. It's undead nuclear engines. Go for it. And watching most people go, that's so brilliant, isn't it? Oh, we're rowing our ship with undead crew members who never get tired. We'll be going at full ramming speed the entire length of the Mediterranean. You're cruising at 2-3 knots. We're cruising at 10. What are you doing? Yeah. We're getting somewhere. We're modernizing naval trade. What are you doing? Yeah, we're making back our money. And so therefore, I guess I'm used to a much more pragmatic use of undead for they're just tools to be used for society to do its work. And therefore, you're more humane to animals because you're not working them to death. You don't have to engage in a slave trade. These people already lived long, vibrant lives. They're already dead. Their bodies are useless. They're just rotting. What are you going to do? Burn them? No. Put them to
Give them a
work.
proper burial and be done with them.
Right. Yeah, right. What are you going to do? They're going to eat up. They're going to eat up valuable real estate in a graveyard, sitting there for the rest of eternity. We go over once in a while and go, well, here lies Grandpa, and then move on. And then wait for an evil necromancer to come in and go, this beautiful graveyard is all here. My undead army, raise up. No. Either cremate them, and you get the choice on death of, do you want to be cremated so that way your body is useless and you contribute nothing else to society, or you continue to be valuable and functional. Most people choose cremation, by the way, but a few people kind of go, I want to be useful even after death. And we just turn them over into that. And plus, when an invading army, we bury our dead. We raise the other guy's dead, because we don't really care about their country and their people. They invaded us. Their dead becomes our troops. It's so much more efficient this way.
Hey Kai,
Yes.
you mentioned eternal. Don't the bones, excuse me, eventually wear down?
You got to do some maintenance upon them. Some healing, some restoration. You do. Look, like any good machine, if you don't maintain it, it breaks down. And some people look at it as cheap, but I look at it as a small amount of preventative maintenance maintains them for a much, much longer time. And you know what? You might invest in, if you raised a strong undead, powerful skeletons, powerful zombie, you might invest in, spells to prevent the flesh from rotting, or replace metal with bone. I bone with metal, so that way it lasts longer, and you just keep them functioning. And eventually I'm going to have a Necron army. I don't give a crud. I'm going to have my Necron army.
Hey, Kai, another thing. Have you ever heard of the Willed Body program? It sounds right up your alley. Instead of putting the burden onto your family, you can go online, look up the Willed Body program, and sign your body away. That way, when you die here on Earth, they'll just cart you away. Your family won't have to worry about all the expenses. Both my parents, my mom did that, and I've already signed up as well. So, I'll see you there. In the CIA, slab area where they, turn us into what was it? What was that movie where they brought back the soldiers as like cyborg zombies?
Hey, I am a 100% totally okay with oh shoot, what are the flesh automatons in 40K called again?
Servitors.
I'm totally okay with that. It's horrifying, but it's continued use. They don't have true necromancy, so they use that. I prefer necromancy in fantasy games, but cyber zombies work just as well in more modern senses. I know I'm ethically horrible, but
I'll pray for you.
Yeah.
All right. And last but not least, Shadow. What are the roles of the undead in your games?
They are victims. They are abominations, and they are monsters. That's it.
Okay. So, no.
I'm just, I got to draw the line somewhere, and I've run too many evil campaigns and seen where it's gone. I ran a 25-year-long evil campaign, and I'm pretty sure I still have a crap ton of atoning to do for it. This is the stuff I let my players get away with. Yeah, probably shouldn't have done that.
Okay. So that does kind of round out my questions for the night. I am going to take one liberty. Janet, who I don't know if she's still in here or not, and Bruce will be looking at the movie Constantine this Monday.
Ooh.
So we brought that up, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a good, pigeonhole. Get it in there." And yeah, getting that in there and whatnot. So yeah, the make sure that you do check them out on Monday on Bruce's channel. It was a very good movie. In fact, they're doing a second one from what I'm hearing. So yeah. So in the spirit of finding out what everyone's got going on, Bruce, besides this Monday with Constantine, what do you got coming up this weekend?
Well, actually, that's a good question. I'll be putting Janet's link for her YouTube channel in the chat here in just a minute. But we are doing a shit show tomorrow night, and that's quickly becoming one of my favorite streams to do because I can drop my political content in my streams with my friends where they don't appreciate political content, and we can save that for Friday night, which she loves political content. And then Saturday, I've got a game over here. Chris is running his campaign where I get to play my Necromancer, and then after that, Kai and I are going to have a discussion. Probably going to talk about domain play and rogues and how you should always try to strive for that in every campaign and not fucking quit after 10 sessions.
And not pigeon them into a hole where they only get to be cool once every 3 sessions because that's the only time you ever throw your fucking traps or lock doors at them. Oh, what are you here for? I'm here to stab one guy once every 2 to 4 sessions, and then I get to unlock a door. And the rest of the time, I sit here and jerk off because rogues having skills is a bad thing. Rogues doing anything outside of stabbing one person from shadows once time per combat is a bad thing. And rogues doing anything useful is a bad thing. Rogues are just here to be Soviet mine detectors. And open doors because we are shit tier horrible GMs. Blah blah. Fuck you.
We'll hold back. Tell us how you really feel about it.
Oh, give me more time. Not
Saturday. Check that out on Saturday.
Other than that, those are the big things we got coming up Friday, Saturday, and Monday. I might do a paint stream on Sunday afternoon. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens over at LOM's channel. And we'll be, pissing in the wind until then. Duck! Talk to you later.
All right. Connell, what do you got coming up this weekend?
This weekend. Well, Friday, I will be off camera, most likely playing Warhammer Fantasy, which I'm looking forward to. Saturday, as Bruce said, I will be hanging out with him and the other Dead Knights over on his channel as his buddy and my buddy runs his evil campaign. I'm kind of evil light in that one. Then Sunday, we will be talking about Howard the Duck, the movie. Because this month we are doing guilty pleasures. And my guilty pleasure, one of many, is Howard the Duck. You know, the movie that brought you such things as duck boobs? We'll be talking about that.
Wow. Okay. Kai, is there any other insights that you have for the Saturday stream? The Kai's musings that we're going to hear.
Look, I don't plan ahead. I roll with it. So, I just write weird things every once in a while, and then we talk about even weirder stuff. So, yeah.
All right. If you want to see some of those weird things that he does write, you can check that out on Bruce's Discord. He has an entire channel dedicated to the things that go through his head, so to speak.
Yeah.
So and he is, yeah. Uh-oh. Wait, what was this guy?
The answer to that would be I'm not available on Mondays. I'm not available on Thursday. I'm not available every other Saturday. It would have to be after 6 o'clock, and I would prefer to be done about 10 on the days that I'm free, which are not, but everybody else is busy. So most of the time. So, well, they want to start at ungodly late avocado time, ungodly early avocado time, or ungodly late European time, and I can't make those usually. And I'm definitely not, and I definitely can't do anything on Spider Time, aka Australia. So,
No, that's drop bear time.
nah, spiders. Most of my Aussie friends are usually spider lovers, so it's all spider lovers. They're all drow.
And then,
You know that Australia's just drow, just surface drow, right?
yeah.
Well,
See, I have
go to that.
I have a very good buddy of mine who's in New Zealand. So you've got Kiwi time, and then you kind of got the fucking Aussie time, as he likes to put it.
Fucking Aussie time is my favorite time because I used to have a lot of friends back when I used to work third shift who were all Aussies because they're the only ones who were gaming when I was off work.
All right.
I made far too many spider friends.
No, what do you got coming up this weekend?
Well, right after this show, Little Guy and I are finishing up a craft video for our friend Fritz over at GM's Alcove. And then tomorrow I should be finishing up my review of the TSR 2nd Edition Dark Sun box set. And then hopefully I'll be able to bang my way through the rest of Dark Sun, prepping for a review of almost everything Ravenloft between September 15th and Halloween. I'll be doing a crap ton of Ravenloft reviews, along with the usual stuff. We're also showing off a bunch of Starship miniatures for September. Otherwise, you can find me Saturday night on the Sci-Fi Shadow Chat, where we'll be doing part 2 of Eldritch Horror, and then I don't know what else we're doing the rest of the month. But I finally got the little guy into a live stream with me, and he wanted to do a part 2, so stay tuned.
All right. And in just double checking my calendar here, in 2 weeks, we are going to have the Crafting Gamer with us here. We are going to be play testing his game. And I know that Kai and I believe Jaide have been working with him behind the scenes, kind of helping him tweak a few things. But I know the rest of us are looking forward to grabbing it by the horns, twisting its head off, and going, "Oop, did I do that?"
I love blood.
Yeah, that would be one of the few times you see me play a paladin.
I gotta say something. We had a question in chat earlier. I started, and I'm gonna bring it back. If a soul is nearby, and a necromancer casts Animate Dead, could a soul that's floating around possess one of the walking corpses? And I'll start with Kai first.
Yes, it's a vessel. It's waiting for a possession. Of course it is. Which only leads to, "Ha! You're done. I'm going to release you, undead." At which point the undead looks at you and goes, "I don't think so, Bob." And Bob goes, "But you're supposed to be mindless undead." I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. And then the undead walks off, and then suddenly you're going, "Oh shit! Did I accidentally create an intelligent undead?" As the undead's walking off, double barreling fingers at you as he walks away into the distance. And he goes, "I'm going to lose my license, aren't I?"
Funny.
I lost my fork shut certification. Fuck.
Wow. Connell. So,
I mean, by the rules of possession, and let's go with most of the rules I've read about possession, there's no reason a spirit could not hijack that body. I mean, it's possessing it by using the game mechanic. So yeah, I would allow it. would I be fucking with the player. Boy, would I be fucking with the player if that happens, though.
Yes. Fuck with them. Fuck with them. They deserve it.
All of a sudden, the undead realizes he can't get too far away because he needs the magic that the necromancer is putting off in order to keep possession of the body. And now you have the quirky sidekick of the now necromancer that's nothing but throwing all kinds of
God! Oh, what a twist!
It's like a intelligent sword or intelligent weapon now.
Oh my God! No! Go back to the comic books. Go back to comics to Death in the Family, where the Joker beats the ever living shit out of Jason Todd, right?
Yes.
Where he's dead, and the dead man Boston character jumps in just to give Batman some shit for a while. That would be amazing.
Ooh. Yes, Flaky, I do love Gungrave. That is an excellent series. I love that one. And yes, I'm a total fan of sci-fi necromancy. There's so many fun ways to do it, and I'm okay with them all.
Garrett.
So I would say yes.
Go ahead.
I would say yes, but they are not considered a follower under the follower rules that would be normally kind of they're under an intelligent undead, being that they possess them of their own free will. The DM now controls that NPC.
Oh God!
And it now becomes a instrument of whatever the DM wishes.
So much dickery. So much dickery.
I can see that thing of like going, ha!
Wait a minute, but I don't see how that would work there, Baron, because the body wouldn't be animated if it weren't for the necromancer. Therefore, the necromancer should have control. Wouldn't it be like an opposed check of some sort?
It would be an opposed check at first.
Like a will save or a will
and as for my answer, why is the soul even there as opposed to going to its destined heaven or hell afterlife-y existence, unless it's already a ghost or something like that, in which case it would probably not want the body being more powerful on its own.
I could bounce off this one.
Go for it.
If it's a chaotic battlefield where this happens at, some of the souls may not be actually been reaped yet or gone off to their afterlife yet, but they may be confused and wandering around waiting for somebody to shepherd them off to the afterlife, aka last rites, giving them their all the power things. So
or dead like me.
Yeah, or it could simply be like, why would a ghost want to be able to interact with the undead? That's a body, because the ghost wants to be able to, I like being a ghost. I like this, but I hate the fact that I can't touch anything. I hate the fact that I can pass through everything. I know everything. I can pass. It's great, but I kind of want to be able to manipulate things again. And so temporarily goes, whoop! I'm now in this body. Plus, here's the fun part. You're a happy necromancer, you're Dave necromancer walking around going, I'm a big dumb necromancer, and then you catch you raise your 15 hit dice for undead, who's like, Titanicus, the undead behemoth, and you don't know what ghosts are running around here, because most of us who play necromancers don't spend time, prepping the battlefield, looking around to see what ghosts and spirits are in the area. No, we're kind of short-sighted, and we're kind of ignorant idiots because our GMs don't help us much. But so we raise our Titanicus the undead, and then suddenly the dark king asshole who's been sitting here in Castle Evilstein looking at the battlefield, the ruined battlements, guy goes, I want that body, and floats over there and. Whoop, and you're like, don't worry, there's no major spirits. And all of a sudden, Titanicus, the skeleton turns and goes, thank you for my new body. I shall rule the world now. And then goes walking off. And you're like, and Dave once again goes, oh, motherfucker, this is like the second one. And
no, I was already on probation, not again.
Meanwhile, like almost like Mecca Nixon, I shall now raise taxes and reestablish a kingdom. Boom, boom, boom. No, this isn't good for my career.
My.
For all other questions, please take them to Bruce on this coming Saturday's Raven with Saint Ranting with Saint Rant.
Ranting with Saint Pie of the Assisi.
That's right.
Not nice to call him a sissy.
A thesis.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're talking about other people here.
Yes, he sees things. He sees them twice because he has two eyes.
That's right. Oh my god! I'm going to so create Bob the most
Since we're going down this mad hole of what the fuck, is Ash from Evil of Darkness a necromancer because he messed up on the spell and brought back all the
You knew
undead?
the answer when you asked it. Of course, he's not.
No, he's not. He's against it. He mispronounced something. That's it.
But what about the evil clone that came through the mirror?
Oh yeah.
You're good, Ash. I'm bad, Ash. Oh God.
Welcome back to the land of the living. Grab a shovel and get digging.
All right, I know what movie I'm picking for Halloween. Thank you for.
Hail to the king, baby. The
Hail.
king asshole of Castle Evil Stein.
I'm sorry, and of course his unwitting idiot sidekick, Dave the incompetent necromancer.
Oh.
Remember his
What
body.
did you know before you were a necromancer, Dave? I was an accountant.
Why did you raise Titanicus the skeleton? Because I thought I was powerful. But now, unfortunately,
Because I could.
Unfortunately, now Nixon's being reelected for his third term. Fuck!
You will not impeach me again.
This body's a necromantic powerhouse.
Oh, and Bruce, you said something earlier, and I wanted to respond to it. I would love to have a political conversation with you any day of the week, online or elsewhere. I don't mind it.
What about Jack?
No. That's just too much.
So,
It's not that I have a problem with Jack. It's just
Or another one for Jack.
No, he's just too much Fox and Friends for my taste.
here's the thing, Bruce. I think that you should have him on the shit show tomorrow night.
I'll ask Janet. I know the start of the show. I'm going to request her just let me have the floor for a little bit because I've got about 5 minutes of Dr. Fauci on the phone confessing to what he did to Rachel Maddow.
And I'll give you guys are going to get a little sneak peek. So there I was, Daddy Fauci, and I had Rachel Maddow sitting on my lap. And
Okay, that's enough. That's enough of a preview. That's all I needed. That's all I needed. So, guys, thank you very much for joining us. We definitely do appreciate you. We will see you guys next week.
Thank you for spending the time.
Happy trails.
Yes. Take care.
And by the way, just another shout out for Keto Simple. If you have questions, subscribe to him. He's been doing this for a long time. He's a guru on it. And we, as Table Breakers, will be back here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Bye, everybody.
Don't play with dead things.